Hello. I am making my first YouTube video and I am answering the question, how leaving the Watchtower Society affected me. I've been out of the organization now for 16 years and I have never looked at any so-called apostate information until this year. I've avoided anything to do with organized religion as much as possible, but now and then I've had those quiet moments where deep in the back of my mind I felt the fearful what ifs. What if the organization is right? What if Armageddon comes after all? A friend who knew that I was raised Jehovah's Witness gave me the I'm Perfect, You're Doomed book by Kyria Abrahams. And so much of what she wrote about was my experience too. For the first time, I didn't feel alone. I checked out her website and found links to all kinds of info posted by ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. And I was very pleasantly surprised. It wasn't bashing and the exaggerated claims that I expected. Most is clear, honest information that's presented in a heartfelt way. It was so amazing, and it helped me to finally shake any and all of those lingering doubts I had. And I must say, the real truth has truly set me free. I know that's kind of funny. To tell my story, I have to tell a little bit of my mom's. My mom was raised in a family of 6 with a very alcoholic, abusive mother. She was both physically and mentally abusive. And my mom's very damaged from her upbringing. At 26, she decided she wanted a baby, and my dad was more than happy to help her out with this, and they went their separate ways. And while she was pregnant with me, she was contacted in the door-to-door work by a Jehovah's Witness, and continued studying after I was born and was eventually baptized. She took me and moved to a very small town. It's 2,500 people, and it didn't even have a Kingdom Hall of its own. Many times I was the only Jehovah's Witness in the school in that town, and we would drive to Waitsburg, Washington for our meetings. And it was just a teeny tiny town, lots of very much rural territory. So my mom was very heartfelt and did her best to raise me differently than she had been raised. She put all of her love, all of her energy into me, and I was her whole world. And that's mostly a good thing, but it also meant that she focused 100% of her energy on molding my actions, my thoughts, and my feelings to be a perfect Jehovah's Witness. And I know that she had the best intentions. I know that she did the best that she could, coming from the background that she came from, but I definitely feel that she was misguided. And more recently, she actually apologized to me for raising me as a Jehovah's Witness, and said that she felt badly for pushing me so hard and expecting me to be so perfect all of the time and not tolerating anything. And I was a good kid. I did everything that I was supposed to do and didn't give my mom any trouble growing up. School was very hard for me. It was a small town. Everyone was related, and my mom was a hippie and stood out like a sore thumb. And then she was a Jehovah's Witness hippie, even worse. And I was teased a lot by the kids, and it was just really tough. And occasionally there'd be witness kids. A lot of times they weren't good witnesses, and they made me look worse too. So just lots going on with that. I know that for me, depression started at a young age. I can remember being very unhappy and hating myself at the age of 10. And I think that that's too young. You know, something was wrong for me to feel that way at that age. I was very happy in the congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. They were very supporting and loving, and my mom was basically, being a good witness had nothing to do with her family, who lived nowhere near us. And so the congregation was my family. And, that was just everything to me. I was told by everyone that I would never grow up. Armageddon was going to come soon. I'd never graduate high school. There was no need to plan to go to college or anything like that. I can remember at a young age looking around the classroom and looking at the other kids and thinking about how they were all going to die when Armageddon came, and that could happen at any moment. And I believed that wholeheartedly at a young age. I didn't think too much about Jehovah's Witnesses. I just went with the flow and, didn't question it or think twice about any of my upbringing as far as that goes. As a coping mechanism at school in 5th or 6th grade, I stopped talking altogether. Like if a teacher asked me a question or something, I would answer it. But I could go days without talking at all. I mean, I used to see how many days I could go. And I just think there's something not right about that either in retrospect. But it helped a lot. It stopped the teasing. There was no point in them teasing me anymore. And at the age of 15, I was baptized as a Jehovah's Witness. And I also decided to try and make my life different and just do anything to be different, because I was so depressed, so unhappy, and I would miss a lot of school. I always got great grades, but I just didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to get up in the morning. I just was so unhappy. And one of the things that I did to be different was I joined a lot of groups and organizations at school. Anything that couldn't be scripturally that they could say scripturally, I couldn't do. So I was in Knowledge Bowl and ski team and some stuff like that. And some exchange students came. Every 4 years they do this exchange program with a whole bunch of students, and I had some of them stay with me, and I was able to do the return program to see them. And that was a really mind-opening experience. I got to see worldly people up close and personal, so-called worldly, and interact with them and see that they were normal, they were good, they were, there was none of the craziness that, and scary stuff that we were led to believe. So that was a good thing. And me and one of those girls have stayed connected all of these years, and I'm really glad that I have her in my life. I'm very fortunate. Basically, we're sisters for each other now. Let's see, what else? So by my senior year, though, I was still just struggling with depression, and I was so unhappy, and I was really starting to feel suicidal, and starting to formulate a plan. And I'd been through this training, so I kind of knew what warning signs were about. And I finally said something to my mom, and she believed me, and she spoke to a friend of hers who happened to be an elder's wife, and she had family in a town a few hundred miles away, and she arranged for me to go stay with them, and I finished high school there. And it was wonderful. And the school had probably 12 to 15 Jehovah's Witness kids in it, and that's instant friends. And I made the decision to start talking. I figured nobody knew how I was behaving normally, and so it was an easy change to make. And it was a struggle for me, but I quickly learned that I could be social and interact and enjoy people, and that was really nice. After I graduated high school, I attended the summer convention, and some people were saying, oh, you should do some school, at least go to junior college, or stuff like that. And once I attended the convention, though, it really strongly encouraged kids my age to not attend college. I mean, what's the point? The end is so near. It's so important to preach about the end and save some people. And so just before I turned 18, I decided to devote my heart and soul to Jehovah. And that's what I did. I moved back closer to my mom, and I worked part-time and did probably about 30 to 40 hours per month in field service. And of course, that wasn't considered enough. Let me just check the time here. And I was really encouraged to do more, and so I started about the age of 19 through 20. I started full-time pioneering, and I was often used as an example and put on stage in front of people. And I finally went to pioneer school, and it was, I'd really looked forward to this and thought it was going to be something that really impacted me and made a difference in my life. But it was kind of a letdown, and that's it. As a single woman, that was as far as I could possibly go in that organization, unless I married a good Jehovah's Witness guy, and none of those ever came along for me. And I prayed for that, but it never happened, and I was really disappointed. And basically, I was exhausted, I was burned out, I was really poor, I didn't have any money, I felt empty, and I was getting depressed. And I was just going through a tough patch, and with my mom's encouragement, I quit a job that I had for 2 years with nothing else lined up, which just terrifies me now. I would never do that now. But anyways, that's what I did then, and it was a very economically depressed area. It was hard to find work, and I ended up taking a seasonal job at a ski area. And it was full-time, but just for the winter, and so legitimately I couldn't go out in field service hardly at all working at that job. And I ended up really enjoying that. And I love to ski, and it was the first time I felt really like ecstatic and had a hobby or something that interested me that I was passionate about. And it was just really fantastic. After that job, I worked part-time, and then when the next winter rolled around, I went back to work for the ski area. And that year, another Jehovah's Witness kid, I call us all kids, late teens, early 20s, he was marked, and but we worked together, so we hung out together, and he introduced me to partying, to drinking and smoking pot. And it was so not what I expected. It was so much fun. It made me very comfortable socially, and it certainly was not like the warnings that the congregation always said about it. It wasn't at all like what they made it out to be. But it was difficult for me. I wanted to be that good kid, and I was walking this guilty tightrope the whole time. And I was warned twice. I can't remember how it all came about, those 2 warnings, but I couldn't hang out with a lot of the witness kids. And finally, the last time, I was told on by someone that I had been in the congregation with since we were both babies in diapers. And he was a good witness, and I just was honest when he stopped by my house one day about what was going on, and I knew that he would tell. I expected it. And then when I went before the elders, I knew that they really didn't want to disfellowship me, but I was tired of living, so guilty all the time, and I really left it in their hands and told them to decide. And in my heart, I was like, if they don't disfellowship me, I'll do it. I'll stay in the being a Jehovah's Witness, and if they do, then I will go